ॐ समस्तजनकल्याणे निरतं करुणामयं नमामि चिन्मयं देवं सद्गुरुं ब्रह्मविद्वरम् वसुदेवसुतं देवं कंसचाणूरमर्दनं देवकी परमानन्दं कृष्णं वन्दे जगद्गुरुं कृष्णं वन्दे जगद्गुरुम्. Okay. Last time we had ended with Arjuna's question. Now, Arjuna's question was that you have described a man of realization, but then how does one recognize that this is the man of realization? How does he talk, walk, sit, stand? You know, he basically meant that how does he interact in the world of, in our world, in the world of people who are not realized? So wouldn't there be a difference? Because his mindset would be totally different. And this mindset would be again very, very different. So then the Lord answers the question. Now from here onwards, in the Gita, in the second chapter, right till the end of the second chapter, that is 18 verses, are the highest lyrical poem that is there in any language in all the scriptures of the world, because of the sublimity of the theme. And it is the gist of all the Upanishads. So Upanishads are considered a very, very high philosophy the world over. So here you have a very subtle picture. Now the Lord says, Shri Bhagavan Prajahati yada kaman sarvan parthamanogatan atmanyevatmana tushtaha sthita prajnastaduchyate. These verses, beginning with Prajahati yada kaman sarvan partha manogatan, were verses that were read every day by Mahatma Gandhi when he was dealing with the freedom movement. And he has himself said that these verses gave him a lot of strength. And I can also tell you from personal experience that I used to also be reading these verses every single day. And they taught me a lot how to handle myself and the world. So we come here, I'll read the translation. When a man completely casts off, O Partha, all the desires of the mind and is satisfied in the self by the self, then he is said to be one of steady wisdom. Now, see, he says, please notice that completely casts off. It says casts off, it doesn't say give up. There is a lot of difference. Casting off is a sloughing off. Like a snake sloughs off the skin. You know, so he just leaves it behind and it has nothing to do with him. It doesn't pain him to leave it off. So that is a casting off. Casting off your clothes. How much does it pain you? Especially when you have new clothes to put on. So you cast off, it is a relief. So here see, when a man completely casts off, O Partha, Partha, in my previous talks I have told you that Partha is the son of Prithu. It also means the one made of mud. Mud means matter. The one human being made of matter can also be called Partha. You say Parthiv Sharir to a dead man, Unka Parthiv Sharir. So that is the made of mud or made of matter. But Gurudev used to also jokingly say that whenever the Lord wanted to tell Arjun that how can you ask such a foolish question, or this is foolish, then he says Partha, which means, oh muddy headed fool. You know, this is Gurudev's, huh? Not mine. So here, now see, the completely casts off means when he grows out of desires. It is not suppression. The Western world understands it. No desires. How can there be a man without any desire? So it must be suppression. It must be done by force. So it is not done by force. It is not done by force. It is easily falling off. So when a man completely casts off, O Partha, all the desires of the mind, mind is full of desires, and those desires are carried from the past. It does not say the gross body. Gross body's desires are instinctive. You want to eat, you want to sleep, you want to drink. All those are instinctual of the gross body. Mental desires are subtler, and they drive the human being. They drive the human being towards goals, and then he runs about, he is lashed about that you have to go this way, you have to go this way. So please understand, it is not suppression. Now the Lord is trying to paint a picture over here. Now in these verses, there these 18 verses of two kinds. One is a word picture of the man of realization, and the other is the picture of values that you should aspire for. So then it is not necessary that you will achieve them, or it is not necessary that if you are not achieving them, you are not a spiritual person. No, because these values, to attain these values, you have to go to the stage of a man of steady wisdom. That is sthita prajna. See, he says that when this happens, that man is called sthita prajna. He is called a man of wisdom. So don't think that if I fail to do any of these that will be listed in these verses, then I am not a good enough student, or that I am not a good enough spiritual seeker. It's not like that. This is the perfection. This is the goal that he's showing you, and he's saying this is what you should aim at. So it is trying to tell you the values and the goals that you are supposed to achieve. It is not a failure of a spiritual seeker, that if he cannot do any one of these are to be aspired for. And only a man of wisdom, that is sthita pragnastha, he is called sthita pragnastha when he is easily doing all these. Not that he makes an effort to do, it is effortless. And he says, Atmanyev Atmana Tushtaha. He just grows out of them to achieve a balance which is satisfaction in himself. He does not need anything in the world to satisfy him. He is fulfilled, and therefore he doesn't need anything. Now all these verses are also indicators for spiritual seekers to look for these qualities in the human being that they are trying to learn spirituality from. Gurudev used to say that you do not have to go hunting a guru. The guru will come to you himself, and that guru who comes to you will suit you. He will suit your mental thinking. You will feel at one ment with him. Atonement, he used to say, at one ment with him, because you will understand his teachings better than anybody else. So here, these qualities are the ones to be looked for in a man of realization. Okay. Now here, See, it is when you have these qualities, it is very easy for divinity to shine through you. Now, these pictures are painted. I told you two pictures. One is a man of realization, and the other is the values. So, the teacher here, that is Krishna, wants to hold your mind steady. He wants to he wants to keep a canvas which doesn't move at all, because he's painting on it, and he's painting very, very carefully. Now the intellect is continuously suggesting to you schemes and ploys for more happiness, isn't it? There's a new cafe opened, let's go there for a cup of coffee, because you think that that will make you happy. And it's not that coffee doesn't have any joy in it, it does. But it is temporary, very, very temporary. Similarly, all others, let's go buy a new dress. Let's go and see a new mall is open. Let's go see that. Let's travel in business class. Let's buy a Mercedes. Let's buy a, all these schemes that you think, if I do this, I will gain happiness, are basically me plus this. And all these are vasanas carried over from the past in your mind, because he says, see, he says manogatan. Manogatan means of the mind, desires of the mind. And he should be satisfied in himself, by himself. No other ploy or toy is required to satisfy you. You are happy within yourself. See, nowadays, because of this COVID and the lockdown and all that, you find many people saying that, oh, we are getting so bored. So, what is boredom about? Boredom is that they are not getting the one plus, which they thought will complete the happiness. They feel empty unless they get one plus. Whereas there are other people, they are very happy, they are very contented. And they wonder at how they used to run about all the places. There are many things, you have realized that there are so many things you don't really need, for which you used to run about. Imagine. And so there are many people who are very peaceful, sitting by themselves, sitting and reading, or sitting watching birds and trees. There are many people like that. So it is just a question of what is the intensity and what is the quantity of desires in your mind. What are the number of desires in your mind, the pressure of vasanas in your mind? If they are less, you will be happy by yourself. If they are more, you will be suffocated and feeling, I can't get this, I can't get that, I can't do this, I can't eat here, I can't go there, I can't see this. So many things. So the senses basically make you run about all over the place. Now, then he has asked also that if the man is totally realized and if all his desires are fulfilled, okay, then why does he go on acting in the world? Because unless there is a desire in the mind, the body will not act. There arises the question, isn't it? We all wonder that, okay, if there is no desire in the mind, your body won't move. The realized master's body still moves in the world because of his past vasanas plus the vasanas of others whom he has to interact with. Gurudev used to say that I am functioning because of all the vasanas of my students to learn more. And when he says your vasanas to learn from a teacher like Swami Chinmaya and finish, that day the Swami's body will drop. That is what he used to say. So we used to be scared, and so we used to go on. Of course, we always wanted that we should hear from him. But he many times told us that I have taught you whatever there was to teach. I have nothing more to say. Now that itself completes the teaching, right? And so therefore Gurudev's body falls. And it's like this, you see, he has no desires, but the community's desires to fulfill those, the Lord is functioning through his body and will continue to function through his body till there is a samashti vasana for him, for the teacher. Now, it is for the teacher to discard. They say, how can it be that not a single desire is left in the mind? It is a fallacy. It's not possible. It won't happen. I tell you how it happens. See, a Panditji comes to your house for bhiksha or some puja, and then you serve him a meal. Okay. Pandits always begin by eating sweets. So, a Pandit who has had 21 rasagullas, he has had 11 barfis. After that, he has had kheer, which is a milk pudding. Okay. Then to eat even one more laddu is a pain or a pleasure. His stomach is distended. He is feeling uncomfortable. He has had more, much more than what he generally eats. So then that last laddu which you are trying to force on him is a pain to him. Similarly, a man of realization, he feels so complete, he feels so full that anything else that is piled onto him, that take this, have this, buy this, I want to gift you this, is a pain to him, and therefore he discards it immediately. I know my teacher, so many times people used to bring very, very expensive things for him. But right in front of us, the moment he got it, he used to thank the person very sweetly, love that person, and immediately pass it on to somebody else. I have seen him throwing diamond watches. I've seen him throwing pashmina shawls. I've seen him throwing gold necklaces. I've seen him throwing diamond buttons, because these are things people used to bring for him, thinking he will, they're doing a great service to the teacher, but he did not need them. So the example that he used to give almost always is a child who deposits 2 marbles with his father. I've given this example before also, but to just show you that how a desireless person doesn't need those things. He has gone beyond. The father is neither happy when he receives those 2 marbles from his son, little son, nor when the son comes to claim them back. Okay, Papa, now time up, give them back to me. And when the father is giving back the marbles, does he feel sad? Does he feel sorry? Does he feel that he is giving away a great wealth? No, because even when he got them, they were not a wealth for him. Even when he's giving them away, they're not a wealth for him. Why? Because he has grown out of playing with marbles long back. He doesn't care for marbles anymore. And that is the same that happens to a realized master, that he is long back given up those desires for things which you think will complete the man. They do not complete the man. They do not bind him. They do not bind him with burning desires of the body. He is not bound by attachment to emotions to anybody. He is not bound even by the third thing, that is hanging up or clutching an intellectual idea. So body, mind and intellect have all just prajahati. Prajahati means just given up, cast off, and there is nothing. So now if somebody asks you, a doll, anybody want to play? You will only smile, isn't it? A rattle, anybody? A rattle will amuse you? No, not at all. So the same thing happens to him. So this is called a man of wisdom, and it is coming directly from Krishna himself. So please understand the psychology of the man of wisdom. Now, दुःखेष्व अनुद्विग्नमनाः सुखेषु विगतस्पृहः वीतरागभय क्रोधः स्थितिधीर्मुनिरुच्यते. Again, he is saying, he whose mind is not shaken by adversity, who does not hanker after pleasures, who is free from attachment, fear, and anger is called a sage of steady wisdom. Very interesting. Look at the three things he names: attachment, fear, and anger. He says, who is free from attachment, fear, and anger. Are these the only three emotions that worry the human mind? Naturally, you are going to ask. Anybody will ask. There are many other kinds that work up the human mind and trouble the human mind, and sometimes excite it, sometimes depress it, sometimes he is hankering after things. But here he lists only three: attachments, fear, and anger. And dekho, attachment is the main culprit. When you are attached to something, it will lead to fear of losing that thing or anybody harming that thing. And that fear will also lead to anger towards the one who is trying to put hurdles in the way of your attachment. So, attachment gives rise to fear, fear gives rise to anger. Now, see, I will tell you, if you remove attachment, anger disappears, fear disappears, and if you remove attachment, anger and fear go automatically, they disappear. How? If I am not attached to my diamond ring, I don't have one, but supposing, if I am not attached to my diamond ring, somebody stole it. So how does it matter? It makes no difference to me, isn't it? But if I'm attached to the diamond ring, first of all, I will lock it up, keep it, go and put it in the locker, and I'm all the time worried. Somebody might snatch it, somebody might steal it, somebody might rob me of it, all that. So the fear is always going to be there. And God forbid, but if it actually happens that the ring is lost, supposing somebody steals it or the diamond falls off somewhere, what will happen? Anger. Automatically anger at that or the person who caused it. So all these three things are interconnected. Attachment is the one which way. One example Gurudev used to give is that a son, young son, has not come back from a party late at night. Now the parents are worried. It's a common phenomenon, right? Every household has experienced it and gone through it. Now, the son hasn't come back, 1 o'clock, 2 o'clock. The father and mother are pacing up and down. Why? Because of attachment. Okay? Now, supposing a neighbor's son hasn't come back and that neighbor rings you up and says, you know, it is 1 o'clock, my son hasn't come back. What do you generally say? Arey, no, these children are like this though these days, and he's gone out with his friend. He will come back. Don't worry, go to sleep, go to bed. Why? Because you do not have that kind of attachment to that son of your neighbor, and you are a very good counselor to your neighbor, not to worry, not to fear. This is the pattern of youngsters today. He will come back. But you are worried because of your attachment. And you, because of the attachment, the fear fires your mind. And the fear makes you think of 10 different things. These days, there's so many accidents, you never know. These days, people are being mugged, especially in Delhi. Oh my God, it's a dangerous town. And what will happen to him? This, that. Or supposing his car has got a puncture and he can't set it right. Supposing, gangsters have held him down. Or he is met with an accident, or he is in some hospital and people don't know from where he comes. All kind of, that is fear. So attachment causes fear. Okay. Now then, late at night, the son comes back. He comes back very quietly. and he tries to lift the latch of the main door very quietly. But suddenly the latch, whenever you're trying to do that, always something makes a noise. So the latch, iron latch, suddenly makes a click sound. And the father was waiting for it. He was waiting for it. So the moment the son comes back, now the son has been the cause of attachment, the son has been the cause of fear, and the son has also been a hurdle in the peace of mind of the father. So all the anger automatically comes onto the son. Where were you? What do you think you're doing? Couldn't you ring up? This, that, and the other. So all that happens, isn't it? So this kind of a thing is always there. And see, happiness is not in what is happening around you. It is in the vasanas contacting and reaching what is happening. The way your desires contact what is happening, if it is conducive to you, you are happy. If it is not conducive to you, you are unhappy. So the happiness or unhappiness is not in what is happening. The same happening may be a happy situation for some and an unhappy situation for another. You've heard that phrase in English, no? One man's food is another's poison. The same thing. The same thing. So the mental vasanas touching whatever is happening is what is causes happiness or unhappiness. Now the sage is beyond this. He is beyond the pleasure and pain caused by desires because he has already sloughed them off. They have already gone from him. He no longer contact. So dukkheshva anudvigna manaha. He is not disturbed by adversity, not shaken by any sorrow. He does not become a stone. Please note, he does not become a stone, a big boulder near the Ganges. No. It is that since his attachment to that thing is gone, it does not have the power to disturb him at all. The more attachment you have to anything, believe me, any human being, any situation, any object, that thing suddenly acquires the power to whip you. Gurudev used to say, you are handing him a lash, that here, take this and whip me. Anything you are attached to. A businessman attached to his profits, a musician attached to his success, anything at all. So that is what will cause you going up and down. Now see, a child who's trying to get very big marks in the exams because he wants to get into a very good university, right? Now that is his attachment, that I must get these marks. Now that will not let him sleep. It will not let him eat. It will make him nervous. It will make him jump up and down all the time, that if this does not happen, what will happen? It is like a Damocles sword hanging by a hair on top of his head. And because of that attachment, it is not possible for him to be calm and quiet. So, but a man of realization, a man of steady wisdom, is dukkheshva anudvigna manaha. His mind is never disturbed, never shaken. And sukheshu vigata. Neither does happiness cause any change in the equanimity and the poise, the dignity of his mind. Spraha is longing. So vigata spraha. Vigat means past. That is gone away. He has no longing for anything. He does not hanker after anything. So that is. Now see, this is a biography of the perfected one. Please do not try to compare yourself. The seekers are trying for this, but they are not here. Now, that everybody is born equal is a fallacy, is the biggest fallacy I know. Everybody's body is different. You look different. Your minds are different. Your skills are different. Right from the time you are born. Of course, you are a human being. There you are equal. But that all men are born equal, that is one of the biggest fallacies. And only we all have different desires. We have different quantity and different quality of desires. So when we contact those objects around for which we run after, disturbances do occur in our mind. It is only the perfected ones that achieve this. Perfected ones are who? Jesus, Buddha, Krishna. It is only a Jesus who, from the cross where he is nailed and he is bleeding to death, can say, Lord, forgive them. Imagine. That is a perfected one. Look at Krishna. Krishna also. Just think about it, how tragic his life was. Even when his mother was getting married, the forecast that her son, her eighth child, will kill Kansa. Kansa was Krishna's uncle. Kill Kansa. Kans put his sister into jail, put his brother-in-law and sister both into jail. So beginning from there, and then he is born in jail. The very moment he is born, he is picked up and taken across the river to be the foster child of somebody else or some unknown place where he knows nothing. Then, one after the other, people are sent to destroy him, kill him. One demon after the other comes there to kill Krishna. Even through his life, when he was 13, 14 years old, he had to leave where he was grown up, and he was called by his uncle to be killed by a wrestler. There also, look at him. Then after that, even when he establishes a kingdom for himself in Dwarka, by the curse of Kunti, that whole Dwarka kingdom sinks into the sea. How disturbing could that be? His whole clan, the Vrishni clan, went into the waters. How disturbing could that be? Just think. But Krishna always had a smile on his face. No matter what situation he was faced with, he always had a smile on his face. Now see the even see this Buddha. Buddha, the same thing. He was a prince, right? And from a princely life, he goes straight into the forests. He goes straight into tapasya. He goes straight into tapas where he starved his body, where he had no food to eat, and he went into meditation and all that. Now, but, and Buddha never blamed anybody. Buddha never ran after anything. But so these verses are the biographies of perfected ones throughout history. They are not you and me. So don't judge yourself by this. Then see, all the time worrying. He says, Veet, Raga, Bhaya, Krodha. These are the three. Veet means jo beet gaya. जैसे हिंदी में बोलते हैं ना आप, जो बीत गया. So Veet is the same thing. Veet, Raga, Bhaya, Krodha. A human being whose Rag, attachment, Bhaya, fear, and Krodha, anger, are all dropped off. He sthit dheer muni ruchyate. Such a perfected, well-established master in wisdom is called sthita pragnya. He is called dhira. And muni. Muni is a person who thinks very deeply, intellectual. He manansheel. Muni has and manansheel. One who is manansheel, that means who is all the time given to deep thinking, intellectual thinking, and deep researches. He is called a Muni. About the realities of life, he is called a Muni. So here we have Mani. Vita Raga Bhaya Krodha Sthita Dhir Muni Ruchyate. So a realized master does not have any longing for anything, therefore not disturbed by anything. Do you get disturbed if the Nizam's jewels are stolen? No matter how precious, no matter how greatly valued by the world. But do you feel sorry if they are stolen, or if the government impounds them and puts them in the government lockers? They're the Nizam's jewels. You are not attached to them. And therefore, there is nothing, not a dent in your joy, in your. So, also understand that this human being, the realized master, clearly understands the body is not him. Therefore, anything that belongs to the body, when it is lost, it is no loss to him. Just like the Nizam's jewels, they belong to the Nizam. Similarly, anything that belongs to the body, whether it is a relationship, object, situation, human being, when it is lost, you lose nothing. You have bliss, you have reached the exchequer of bliss, and you are there constantly and always. Now, see, the game becomes more interesting, because the thing is that when you lose attachment, only one thing you have to do, only one thing, and you have to only understand that I am not the body. When I am not the body, this body is only matter, which is an instrument given to me. Then anything that belongs to the body should not concern you. A Dhir Muni, well equipoised person, deep thinker, understands this very, very well. That a raga, vita raga bhaya krodha. Raga is attachment. So no attachment can threaten you of any sort. You are through with them. You have grown out of those attachments, right? So this is it. Gurudev was such a master. And Gurudev taught this only again and again from the pulpit. He used to roar, "You are not the body, understand that carefully." And when that thing is in your mind squarely that you are not the body, then slowly, slowly, you yourself will notice. It will not happen all of a sudden, mind you. This is a great, great game, and it is a very difficult game. And how much you have to practice for it. So, slowly, 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 when you practice for it, you will get it. That much for today. ॐ पूर्णमद पूर्णमिदं पूर्णात् पूर्णमुदच्यते पूर्णस्य पूर्णमादाय पूर्णमेवावशिष्यते ॐ शान्तिः 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 हरि ओम् श्रीगुरुभ्यो नमः हरि ओम्